Hello and welcome to another episode of AAA Arcade, where our set has apparently been downgraded to some kind of bunker.
It's like Hitler's last days.
Today I'm joined by Sydney from Sydney Stunts.
Hey. Well, today we're looking at one of my favorite shows, Seinfeld. There's some mysteries that they have in that show. While it's very well written, sometimes they just don't wrap up some of the jokes at the end of the episode that they should.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we're gonna look at that today.
How many are there?
5.
And here we go. Number 5, the Moleskine Hat.
You like?
George weaseling 3 dates with a girl that doesn't like him is funny. So in order to get a second date with the girl that obviously isn't interested,
George, bye.
he hides an $8,000 moleskin hat he charged on Elaine's boss's expense account that later had to be explained so Elaine wasn't to be fired. Hilarious.
I just need to see the sable hat you purchased yesterday.
The hat. Why do you need to see the hat?
It cost $8,000.
When George calls the girl to get the hat back for the next date, she claims that there is no hat. Craziness ensues later as Elaine and George investigate her house. They conclude that the hat is not there. George holds the clock hostage until she relinquishes said hat.
You stole her clock?
Yep. This is one for our side.
And Elaine eventually has to pay for charging everything under the sun on her boss's expense account. But the question remains, where the hell is that damn hat?
But I will have to see this hat.
Number 4, the apple pie. One of the few actual written mysteries unsolved on purpose, the apple pie was indeed a head-scratcher. Jerry is on a date. As they wrap up the meal, the dessert comes. Apple pie. Jerry goes to dig in, offers her some, and this happens.
Come on, try it. A little taste. Come on.
This could have just been dismissed as she doesn't like apple pie and she's just insane. But later, she is spotted eating apple pie at the same restaurant. Infuriating. Later, George is set to the same situation with the same weird reaction. But this time we know why George is denying the cake, so we can assume from the apple pie incident that Jerry's date knows something about the apple pie that Jerry and the audience don't know, which is alarming in its own way.
If you're one of us, you'll take a bite.
Number 3, the Doorman. The Doorman is a mystery wrapped in a riddle. Being a doorman cannot be a fun job. He even admits that it's not complicated.
It's not brain surgery. You open the door for people who live here, and if they don't live here, don't let them in.
But the mystery lies in this guy's motives. Jerry, on his way up to meet Elaine in Mr. Pitt's office, crosses the building's doorman. Being harassed by a deranged madman in real life would be, at the very least, uncomfortable. But through the magic of Seinfeld, is made hilarious.
You really think you're better than me, don't you?
And even with all of Jerry's peace attempts, this guy cannot help but twist his words around, derangingly.
How about those Knicks?
Oh, I see, on the sports page.
Yeah.
What makes you think I wasn't reading the Wall Street page? Oh, I know, because I'm the uneducated doorman.
Through a series of increasingly uncomfortable encounters, the doorman manages to abscond with a sofa. Maybe? After this, the rest of the doorman's role and motives take place in Jerry's head. Or maybe the doorman was just a figment the whole time. Either way, we are left with a great, great time with the door.
So you didn't even wipe the couch?
No, I was just messing with his head.
And they think they're better than us?
Number 2, the dress. Once again, we find ourselves accompanying Jerry on another date. Everything seems well. He casually remarks on the woman's fashion sense and even says he likes her dress. The second date eventually rolls around and she is wearing the same dress? And of course, this leads to all kinds of jumping to conclusions.
Why? It's our first date. She's already in reruns?
Very curious.
Indeed.
Jerry goes on a third date, probably purely out of curiosity. And lo and behold, a strong arm blessing from the heavens. Wine is spilled on the dress. Yes! We might actually have some answers! Finally!
Well, I guess I'll go change.
Yes, change. By all means, change.
But, of course, Jerry pushes too hard for answers and gets asked nicely to leave.
There must be a secret stash around here somewhere.
No, come on, put something else on. It's early, let's go out.
If it's all the same to you, I think I'm just gonna go to bed.
I was wondering if we could get together again. Oh, really? Well, you can't break up with me over the phone. Come on, you gotta do this in person. It doesn't even have to be one-on-one. You can bring a group of friends. I just want to see you. Wait, don't hang up on me. Why do you wear the same dress all the time? Hello!
Despite his last-ditch effort, Jerry finds nothing out about the dress.
The same dress.
Or
She never
dresses?
changes. Oh my god.
These mysteries are truly frustrating.
And number 1. What the hell happened to Crazy Joe Davola?
Can't get it off. You know how much I hate that? No, of course you do. You put it there.
Season 4 for Seinfeld was a true launching season. Not only did Season 4 have a story arc, but it dabbled in the realm of being meta, as it poked fun at itself about poaching. Not only did Season 4 have a story arc, but it dabbled in the realm of being meta, as it poked fun at itself about pitching a pilot to NBC and the struggles of writing for a sitcom.
One of the many arcs in Season 4 was Crazy Joe Davola. He was by far the creepiest and darkest character in the entire 9 years that Seinfeld was on the air. From stalking Elaine and taking pictures of her when she didn't know, to threatening Jerry and kicking Kramer in the head, causing him injury.
That it fit, and suddenly I feel this kick hit me on the side of the head. It knocks me down. I look up, and it's Crazy Joe Davola.
Since Joe Davola appeared so frequently and was such a menacing presence, you would think his character would have a nice, neat, and satisfying conclusion.
Sometimes we don't get what we want.
Joe Davola blames Jerry for one of his scripts being rejected by NBC, and on the final episode of Season 4, well, this happens.
Six-Upper Tyrannus!
A lot can be assumed as to what happened to Crazy Joe Davola, but he isn't mentioned ever again after that still frame. There is no, oh, he went to jail, or he died from the fall, or that asylum was a little bit more full and crazy. Crazy Joe Davola. Nothing.
Crazy Joe Davola.
But can you even call these plot holes? Seinfeld's claim to fame is a show about nothing. A show with no stories. However, some of the best stories come along from this nothingness. Some of us that watch this show way too much and analyze it to this degree can't help but wonder about these little and sometimes major things about what could possibly be the greatest sitcom of all time.
Hey, thanks for watching our show, and if you haven't already, head over to Sydney Stunts to go check out a video we made together. I don't like doing parkour and she doesn't like talking, so as you can tell, we make a really good team. Thanks for watching! Oh.
No.